Hello.
Hey, there it is. Go ahead, Simon.
Hey everyone, it's a slot machine here, and today I'm here with a very special guest for this episode of Slot Speak. He is a home slots fun, and he loves to collect slot machines. It does take like a few minutes for like the notification to come out and for people to come on in. So while we wait for some people to come in, let me check something.
Okay.
I'm like wondering, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure.
How you got interested into collecting slot machines?
Absolutely. So I'm in Texas. You can probably tell from my outrageous Southern accent. And I got into collecting probably about 2 years ago now. I didn't think I would ever do it. But one thing is I used to go to the casino and go to Vegas and things like that, play the slots. But over time, I realized that I always would end up with no money at the end of the day. So I actually don't gamble anymore in casinos, but I still love to play the slot machines. And so what better way to fill that void than to get your own machines and play for free? And so that's what I've been doing. I started off small. I got 2 machines a couple of years ago, a triple diamond, and then also a free games, just a small regular IGT like the one you have.
Nice.
And but I always wanted a top dollar, so I was looking, and I found a double top dollar, and I bought it, brought it home. I sold the other 2, and I fell in love with that one. And then about a year later, I was like, you know what? I kind of want something different. So I sold that one and got another one. After that, they just kept growing and growing because I learned how to repair them, how to restore them, how to make them look better. I do a lot of retrofitting, like putting LED bulbs in instead of the amber lights so they pop a lot better. Doing some of those things that you'll never see in a casino. So it makes them a little bit more interesting. Yes. And so I've really enjoyed doing that. And it's actually become more of a part-time job at this point because more and more people are seeing my ads for the machines, and then they keep asking me, hey, can you repair mine? Because it's been sitting downstairs forever and it's broken. So, I'll get it in and go pick it up and repair it and return it back to them. So it's kind of starting out to be a pretty good business. And but I enjoy it a lot. I have a pinball machine, an old pinball machine that I work on as well. But I think I have a little bit more fun with these, I'll admit, at least for now. Who knows what the future will bring. I may just get bored of them and sell them all off and go back to pinball. Who knows? Yeah. But that's kind of how it ended up. And over time, I just kept finding the machines that I've always wanted. And had to barter and trade and do all kinds of stuff to get them because they're not easy to find. You can see the top dollar over here on the corner. And that one was very difficult to find. And then this one is actually one of your favorites, Simon.
Definitely is. That's a machine I really want.
Double, triple, double. Let's see. Double, triple, diamond, deluxe with cheese. It's a mouthful. Yes. It's a lot of fun, but this one's actually a very rare one because it has the 5 reels. All the ones that you see in the casinos are 3 reels. And to my knowledge, this is the only one that exists. It was like a one that they made as a test because it's not complete. Whenever you go through the bonus, half of the numbers up there don't say the number. So the sound programming was never completed. So I don't think this one ever hit a casino floor. I'll never get rid of it. Sorry.
It's okay.
Just because.
What an interesting story. And I'm going to the chat. I'm going to say hi to a few people.
Go for it.
Hi, Melly. Hi, North Hillary. Hi, Jessica. Gamma Hot Queen Slots. Hi, Anna. Hey, Slots. Anna A Slots. Hi, Slots and Slots. And hi, Tina. I'm wondering what makes some of the slot machines really difficult or rare to find?
Well, a question I get all the time is, do you have any Wheel of Fortunes? I get that all the time.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that is one of the most difficult to find because it is a licensed game because of the Wheel of Fortune theme. And
Yes.
so whenever they leave the casino floor, they are destroyed, which is a very sad thing.
It is.
I would easily pay money to get them. There are a few out there, but they go for $8,000 or $9,000. Very, very expensive. So it really depends on the theme as well as the type of game. Like you can get a base. They call it the S2000, which is
Yes.
probably the most popular real slot machine that's ever been created. You see them everywhere. You can get a basic like double diamond like the one you have or a triple
Yes.
diamond for fairly inexpensive, $400 to $600. But then you have the kind of the specialty ones, which the ones that I have behind me are all Barcrest. It's
Nice.
a company that created these themes and then partnered with IGT to put them together.
Beautiful.
Barcrest are the ones that have all the cool bonuses, like the top dollar, the pinball, the quack shot here, and the I'm not even going to say it, the cheese one.
Oh my gosh.
So the Barcrest ones are very much more difficult to find because people want them, and that's just how it works sometimes. You can't go out and just buy these directly from IGT. You have to find them on the market.
Definitely.
Hopefully you get one that's not too busted up or can be fixed. And so it really just depends on what kind you're looking for. Some of the bigger ones, like I'm getting a couple in. I'm getting an Aftershock. You may have seen that in the casino before.
Nice.
So it's a Mad Raving Shark, I think, Shark Raving Mad, something like that. Those two are the BB3 Bluebird platform, which is much more expensive.
I love that.
And but they're newer. So usually the rule is the newer it is, the more expensive and the harder it is to find.
Yes.
So I missed, how many machines do you have? So right now I've got 4. Let me show you them real quick. So I've got the, I'll do a little tour here. How's that?
Yes.
Let me unplug here. So here's my my top dollar. I have a progressive topper on it right now. You can see the progressive is getting pretty high. Then this is Simon's favorite here. So the double triple diamond deluxe with cheese.
Yes.
Like I said, this is the 5 reel version.
Beautiful.
And here's the quack shot. And you can see they're all in their attract mode right now with the lights and everything blinking. And right now I also have a Pirate Bay.
Lovely.
Which is called the SAVP platform, so it's a little bit newer. You've probably seen something like that. So those are the ones I currently have, but it changes every couple weeks or so because I get some in to repair, and the ones that I like the most I end up keeping.
Yes.
So they come and go.
Yeah, that is like such a I find it really fascinating how you're like able to like literally test all these machines, and you can like literally and that you've turned your love for slot machines into a business, which I find really neat. And Doug is saying, "Hi Simon, Top Dollar is such a fun machine to play."
I agree. One of the questions Simon gave me was, "What's your favorite theme of all time? What's your favorite slot of all time?" It's Top Dollar, hands down. Nice. I'll never get rid of that thing back there. It's so much fun because I think that it's one of the very few slot machines where you actually have to make a decision. Yeah. And I think that's what makes it so intriguing. It's kind of like Deal or No Deal, and why that was such an successful TV show. Because you just don't know, like, should I take it or should I try again and be risky? But if you think about it, all the other slot machines, you just press the button to spin the wheel, or whatever the bonus lands on is what you get. But Top Dollar is very unique in that you have to have a little bit of knowledge on what's the right play, basically. So I think it's a very unique and obviously very popular because they're still making new ones.
Definitely.
It's one of the longest running themes that IGT and Barcrest has ever had. So very successful.
I did not know that. And also, I do believe that people are curious, like, what does an inside of a slot machine look like? Yeah. So do you think you was one of the insides of a slot machine?
Yeah, let's do it.
And on that same question, I'm like wondering if when you go inside of a slot machine, is it possible to fix a slot machine to win or lose?
That's a good question. Let me answer that before I open it up. And
Okay.
the answer to that is no. It's very you've probably heard about random number generators before many times, and that's how slot machines work.
Yes.
So literally thousands of times a second, there's a random number that's being generated by the CPU inside of these slot machines. And this is the same for all slot machines, new ones and old ones alike. The moment you press the button or the moment that you pull the handle and it clicks, it stops that random number generator and it spits out a number, let's say 1065632.
Yes.
And then it has a little pay table lookup that says, does this win? No. Spin the reels and do a non-winning combination.
Oh, I see.
Is it a win? Yes. Well, how much is it? 10. Okay. Pick from one of these 5 different ways that you can win 10 credits. So it could be a cherry and a double diamond or 2 cherries. And so it picks from one of those. But the moment that you press the button, it is deciding what's going to happen. I can see, can you explain the random number generator? So kind of just explain it, but let me go a little bit further. So the idea is that it's so many calculations per second. And this is where a lot of the myths come from in slot machines, where they say, you know, oh, a machine's hot or a machine's cold, or this one just paid a jackpot, I should probably get off of it. Or this one hasn't paid anything for a long time, so I better stay on it because it's going to hit soon. It's all that is BS. It can't happen. It's the same. Here's how I always put it. You know, people ask the same question about, well, how do you win the lottery? You know, how do you pick the right numbers? And honestly, it's just, most people know, well, it's random. Like, you don't really know what the outcome is. Otherwise, people would be rich, you know, picking numbers. And people say, well, you know, it's not that hard to pick numbers. You know, you might 8, 12, 18, 26, whatever. But think about this in a lottery sense. The numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's say you pick those 6 numbers. Most people would look at you and say, that'll never win. When will the drawing ever be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? It's the same percentage that it will be that than anything else. And it's the same with slot machines. So the minute that you push the spin reels button, it stops that random number generator. It spits out that number. And then it has a lookup table to say, does this number actually belong to a win or not? And that happens before the reels even start to spin. It determines whether you're winning or where you're going to win or not, and then by how much. And then after it figures that out, it comes up with some kind of cool combination on the reels to show you that actual payout.
That is such a
good
great
question.
Explanation.
All right, so let's take a look inside.
Hi, Debbie Bonds. Hi, Lucky Dog. Hi, Gambling Granny. Nice to see you. What's up? I find it. Hi, Todd B. I find it really interesting that a slot machine is like set to randomly. Is like set to a random number generator, and kind of an interesting tidbit of information is that older slot machines before, like any slot machines pre-1985, they did not have random number generators because the random number generator was patented by IGT in 1985. So any slot machines prior to that date, they had the reels when you put the hand on, the reels just spun, and the slot machine put the brakes on, and like whatever combination you had was like the combination you got. It is a pair
right.
And you lost.
Yep, that's correct. You're absolutely right with that. That's why IGT is so famous for all their machines, and they've been the longest running in the business. Fixing to Scratch, I see your question. He's actually one of the channels that I subscribe to. That's funny that he's here. Thank you for coming. Can you change the percentage payout? Well, the answer is yes, but you can't do it while there are credits in the machine or somebody is actively playing it. And furthermore, the older the machine, the less likely it is that a casino operator can change the payout percentage at any time without going through swapping out chips on the board, removing the security tape that the gaming commissions put over to prevent tampering. So the newer slot machines, that's different. They can change them when they want to, but never when you have credits on the machine. That cannot happen. So it's not like they're going to be looking over your shoulder and saying, hey, that guy's winning too much, let's turn it down. They can't do that. By law, they can't do it, and the machines can't be built to even allow that. So
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry to interject again, but
Nope.
But you did mention that for newer slot machines, that they can have an easier time doing the payout percentage. I wonder how they prevent tampering the payout percentage on the newer machines, since it seems easier to do.
Yeah, and they can do it remotely on the new machines, so they can take the machine down at night and remotely change the payout percentage. I don't really like that. That's why I always advise, if you're going to play a machine, to prevent that kind of craziness going on, stick with the older machines.
Yes.
Because you know that it's a real pain to change that. But one thing on the payout percentage that I do want to mention, though, is that let's say that there's a difference between a 98% and an 88% payout percentage. Basically, what that means is, over the long run, if it's a 98% payback, for every dollar you put in, they will take 98 cents, or you will get 98 cents back. So the house edge there is 2 cents. But that's over millions and millions and millions of spins. So you're not going to notice that right away. It's going to require a lot of spins. So really, if you're talking about a machine that has a 95% and a machine that has a 98%, you're never going to notice it in any kind of active session that you have. So
I did not know that.
Yep. So let me walk you through real quick. This is the inside of the cheese slot. So this is, of course, the bill acceptor with the ticket in, ticket out. I have a module there that allows me to simulate what you get inside of a casino with inserting your own tickets. I can even put my own name on it and everything.
Awesome. Isn't the better ticket in, ticket out made by Better Ticket In, now?
Better Slots?
Yeah, Better Slots.
Yeah, but they make one of them, and then there's a new one that's out. Both I recommend. They both work really well. And you can do it for most machines. And then, of course, there's the cash box, which is where all your bills go.
Nice.
You can see the reels here, obviously. I've got 5 of them here. And then inside of here, this is the brain box. So this is where everything happens. Let me turn the machine off here, because you don't want to pull that out with it on.
Definitely.
You will short things out.
Yep. I know someone who pulled that thing out and they shorted out the entire machine. Yep.
I've shorted out many parts over the years from not doing easy stuff like turning the machine off before pulling out stuff. So here's an example of a board inside of here. This is the game chip here. So this is what holds the payout percentage, the game theme, everything. So without this, without any of these chips, it wouldn't work. But this is the one that controls the specific game that's in the machine, as well as the payback and the denominations that are set up too. So in order to change the payback percentage on this, you have to take this chip off. You have to put another chip on, which is called a clear chip. You have to put it in the machine. You have to let it boot for about a minute. You pull it out. You take that chip out, put another chip in. That is a set chip. You put that in the machine and wait 10 seconds, pull that out. And then you have to put this one back in. And then you have to go through a complete setup of setting the denomination, payout percentage, and everything. So it's a very arduous process. It's not something that casinos or really anybody does because it's very labor intensive. But the other thing, and you don't see it on here because I've already removed it, but when I first got this machine, there was red tape over everything here.
Yes.
And that is the security tape put on by the Gaming Commission of whatever state that the machine came from. It's basically a tamper tape. So they'll know whenever the Gaming Commission comes in and does random audits of machines, they'll pull the board out. And if they see that was tampered, lots of fines, lots of problems for the casino. So, and that's for your safety, obviously. So the casinos aren't going through and just monkeying with the stuff or putting in chips that pay less percentage than the state allows, things like that.
Yeah, that's really good. I really appreciate the security measures that the gaming board takes to ensure your safety, kind of like how airports have security checks too. And
yes.
Now Hillary is asking, how do they change the percentage out on the new machines? And Todd B is also asking, does your player card impact the payout?
That was on my sheet. I'm glad you asked that question. So the first thing is on the new machines, they can change it with software. So the newer machines are all networked. Even the older machines are networked, but there's limited ability there. Like it will notify the casino that there's a jackpot, for example, or there's some kind of issue like the paper's out, something like that. But the newer machines are all programmed remotely, basically through a computer. So they log into a program and then they can change the percentage. Again, only if you are not actively playing. If there's credits in the machine, they can't touch it.
That's good.
And Todd, does your player's card impact payout? This is one of the most common myths I hear all the time. And the answer is absolutely not. And those run on two completely separate systems, and they can't talk to each other. These machines are purposely built so that it's almost like there's a firewall in front of this brain box here that's saying you can't allow the outcome of the random number generator to be modified by anything, whether it's your player card or whatever. And people say, well, yeah, but I played $100 with my player card in and didn't win anything. And then I took my player card out and put $100 and I hit a jackpot. So clearly it's better to play without the player's card. You just got lucky. And here's how you can test that theory. Take a quarter and put a credit card on the table and flip the quarter 20 times and record how many times it's heads. And then do it again and take your credit card off the table and flip it 20 times and record how many times it's heads. That's exactly the same thing. So it's not making any difference whatsoever. You may get lucky or you may not, but the player's card makes absolutely no impact on the result of the spin at all.
That is so good to know. And also, going back to the chat, we have 3 questions. The first question is from C4. What is the name of the new Tito system?
The name of the new Tista, it's oh boy, you're testing my memory here. I think it's if you go to a website called New Life Games.
Yes.
And you go to the IGT S2000 forum, subforum on there, you will see it pinned at the top. I think it's just called Tito 3.0, to be honest. And it's not any better than the Better Slots one, honestly. Now that there's competition, like before, it was just that's free market, right? So, but they're both equally as good, and the best thing about them is very detailed instructions that you can easily figure out how to install it yourself. It's not difficult at all. Okay, what's the next question?
Next question is from Scott.
I can't hear you. Go for it.
The next question is from
I can hear
Scott
you now.
Wilson. Are the bonuses where you choose the number of spins or multipliers, etc., predetermined, meaning that you'll get the same payout regardless of which option you choose?
That's a good question. So that kind of goes back to the random number or free games or whatever the case is. As soon as you initiate the free games, the whole time that those free games are running, it's already been predetermined what your end result is going to be. So every spin or multiplier or anything that happens between the time you start the machine randomly showing you different combinations of certain things, certain percentages, or not percentages, but, say like 4 times, whatever. What I'm trying to say is that, it's already determined how much your end result is going to be when you start the bonus. But even if you have 150 spins or something crazy like that, it already knows what the end result's going to be. It's just going to basically figure out how to get you there to the last spin for that total. Good question.
So interesting. Yes, and Tina's saying, I swear I went out without my card. LOL. And awesome. Hi, Natasha. And and OH is kind of jumping around. I'm having a scroll moment, but OH is saying, 1 second. Back-to-back jackpots weren't unusual on old school Blazing Sevens a couple of decades ago.
Yes, and you could literally have 3 back-to-back jackpots, or 4, or 5. Now, the odds of that are very low, but it's possible. And it's also possible that you will never hit anything for 30 minutes straight. Both of those are possible.
Yes.
And that's why I, personally, I don't gamble with real money anymore in slot machines, because I know that. I know that it can be they're fun, but overall you're going to lose. And I think it's important that everybody knows going into a casino, risking your own money, that you know that over the long run, these things are made to take all of your money. Otherwise, casinos wouldn't exist. So,
yep.
But that doesn't mean you can't win. Sometimes you can go in and spend $100 and suddenly you turn it into 200 or 300 or even more than that. My advice to you there is to just get up and leave. Take your winnings and go either play something smaller or take off, because if you stay around long enough, it's going to eat you up, and they're going to take it from you.
Yes, and also in the chat says, the chat is wondering if you can repeat your answer to Scott Wilson's question, because the audio did get very choppy.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'll explain that again. So his question was, are bonuses where you choose the number of spins, multipliers, etc., predetermined? Meaning, will you get the same payout regardless of which option you choose? The answer to that is yes. It doesn't matter which of those that you pick, whether it's 30 spins at 2x or 5 spins at 30x. It's already determined what your end result's going to be the moment that you select that option, or whenever you click to start the bonus. That's why most of the newer slots, you have to initiate when to start the bonus, because that's stopping the random number generator. That's a second random number generator. The first one allowed you to get the bonus, and then there's a second random number generator that runs for starting the bonus.
I did not know that.
Yep. So that's the common one on that is like Wheel of Fortune. People always ask, okay, well, I got the spin. So does that mean that before I even hit the spin the wheel, does it already know what the result's going to be? And the answer to that is no, it doesn't. It's when you hit the spin and it stops another random number generator that decides what the wheel is going to end up on. Good question, Scott.
That is so fascinating, because I remember when I was playing Dancing Drum Explosion, I kept hitting the coins in hopes of getting the grand, but however, I kept getting the mini over and over and over again. And what's interesting is sometimes after you're done picking, the machine shows you what you could have picked, but on Dancing Drum, they don't show you what you picked.
So that's a very good question, and I'm going to answer that too. There are 2 types of picking. So there are bonuses or jackpot bonuses where you select, and once you hit 3 of something, it awards that prize. So say a mini or major or a grand or something like that. If it shows you after you're done picking what all the other results were, it means that you were 100% in control of what the result was going to be. If it doesn't show you, then it was predetermined to give you that amount or that award regardless of what you select. Does that make sense?
Yes, I did not think of it that way. And also, thank you so much, Scott. He says, it's a slot machine. It is safe to say that this is the best live stream on YouTube I have seen in a long time. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
That means a lot. And then bouncing back to J-Rose insight, he's saying, I have never seen the gaming board open games, and if they did, casinos have no problems paying a fine versus paying the gambler.
Yeah, you just described what most businesses are like. Sometimes businesses do things kind of illegal, because it's actually worth more money to just keep doing illegal stuff and paying the fine. I really don't know personally what the penalty is for manipulating chips inside of slot machines if the Gaming Commission finds it. But honestly, I mean, casinos they're going to get your money regardless. There's no slot machine that pays over 100%. The maximum payout is on a slot machine is around 98.6. On a video poker, it's around 99.4, but it can never go over 100%. And casinos are happy with that because over the long run, they're going to make money off of that slot machine.
Definitely.
So they're not going to go through the trouble of trying to manipulate it because they're already winning. If that makes sense.
Yep, they are. Yes, that is really good to know, especially when it comes to like people wondering whether or not a casino is willing to put up with paying out fines just to mess the gamble on.
Right. Just think what that would do. I mean, just think that, play that scenario out for a little while. Let's say that the Gaming Commission does come in and find that, a casino is tampering with slot machine chips. That hits the newspapers. People start to hear about it. What do you think will happen to their patronage at that point? Nobody would trust going there. So they got to keep the Gaming Commission happy. I mean, it's just, if you don't, you're ruining your own business, and they're already making money. So why? It's not worth the risk at all.
It's not. And also, hi, Mark Graham. Sorry if I put your name. And Kennedy is asking, how do you feel about video poker slots advantage play compared to regular slots?
If you were to walk into a casino with $100 and you had the choice, and your goal was to win money, not to have fun or anything, just to win money, you would hands down want to play video poker if you play it with the correct strategy. The video poker is one of those games where you are in control of a lot of your fate. If you have to decide when to hold, when to take cards, etc. And like I said, most video poker machines are much higher percentage payback than slot machines because of that strategy. And my advice is if you do want to go in and play video poker, there are a lot of free online video poker tutorial sites where you can go and they will tell you what the best strategy is. Like, it basically simulates a video poker machine, and it will tell you, in this scenario, you should hold, the two aces, for example, or you should hold the two twos, or whatever the case is. It's kind of like blackjack or anything else. If you know the best strategy, you're going to increase your odds of coming out a winner than if you went in and played it blind. But slot machines don't require any kind of knowledge. I mean, you just push the button and hope for the best. And so that's why they're very popular. But that's also why they pay out less than video poker because of that.
I can definitely see why. And I do remember looking at the Wizard of Oz website, and it does show you how to optimize your play. And it does take a lot of advanced strategies and a whole lot of knowledge. And going back to the chat, Todd B is asking, is there such a thing as a cycle in the machine, upwards or downwards?
Yeah, and the answer to that is still no. But it's all about perception. And the way that back to an example I gave before, is flipping a coin. Overall, the odds of you getting heads versus tails is 50%. We all know that. But you may do it 20 times and get 13 heads and 7 tails. And then you may do it 20 times and get 19 heads and 1 tails. And then the next time you do it, you may get 3 heads. You know what I mean? It's all about there's a sense of randomness to it, and the slot machines work exactly the same way. I've heard this a lot where people say, well, I just watched that guy put $500 in that machine and he didn't win anything. I better hurry up and go over there and play it because it's got to be ready to hit because he's put all that money in and he didn't get anything. That's false thinking. You don't want to walk into a situation like that because it could happen to you the same way it happened to him. But the reverse of that is true also over again. And they get off it, and you say, well, that machine's hot, I better go play it. Same thing. It's exactly the same both ways. So there's really no hot or cold or upwards or downwards. Doesn't matter how much has been put into it today, or it's better if you play it early in the morning because nobody else is there playing it. I mean, all that stuff is completely false.
It really is. And I've definitely heard a lot of stories of people saying, well, the machines seem a lot looser in the morning because they're not being played as much. Or people think that the machines are always tighter on the weekends because more people go to the casinos on the weekends. And also, Kathy is asking, do you know anything? Do casinos on Indian properties have the same rules from the Gaming Commission?
Boy, that is a good question. Indian casinos are a little different because they are not federally or state regulated. They are tribal regulated. And because of that, their rules can differ much from what the state typically has. Here's a perfect example. In the state of Nevada, I believe the minimum payback for any slot machine is between 75 and 80%. They can't go any lower than that. So it has to at least be set at 75 or high. Don't quote me on that, but it's somewhere around there. India casinos, there is no advertised percentage anywhere. Even if you ask them, what is the minimum payback percentage on your slot machines, they won't tell you. And they're not obliged to do so. And so I always recommend if you are going to go play in a casino and you have a choice between an Indian tribal run casino and one that's not, go for the one run by the state because the regulations are tighter. You should feel more comfortable that stuff's not being monkeyed with inside of the machines. And also your payback percentage is documented in public knowledge so that you can look it up and make sure that you're not getting taken. I mean, I've heard stories, although you can't really know for sure, but I've heard stories where Indian casinos have them as low as 30% payback on slot machines, which is horrendous. Now the difference between a 30% payback and a 98%, you will definitely notice that in the short term. Good question, Kathy. Thank you.
That is such a good question, and that's definitely really great insight when you are choosing what casino to go to. And our waitress is asking a pretty funny question, but there's some people who like to slap the buttons, and she's asking, can they install a pressure sensor that can zap slappers when they exert excessive pressure?
I tell you, that's the one thing that hurts me personally because I own slot machines.
Yeah.
Is when I see people getting rough with them because this glass, for example, the glass on this top ball is one of a kind.
It is.
I would never be able to find a reproduction of this. And even if I wanted to get it made, it would be very difficult. And so, back in the day when I was inside casinos and I could see people playing them and they're like slapping the button, hitting the glass and things like that, it hurts because that stuff is not cheap to replace. It's very unique to that machine. I wish they would install some kind of zapper. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That would cut that down pretty quick, wouldn't it?
It would. Yeah, I find it when I go through a casino and I see people smacking the buttons, I do feel very sad.
Hey, take it easy, bro.
Yes.
It's not gonna change anything. Just take it easy.
Definitely. And on slot machine belly glass, I'll show you 1 second. Let me flip the camera around. Hang tight, everyone. As you try to flip the camera around, you see this. 1 second. Hang tight, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Wi-Fi is being a little slow right now, but you see this double diamond slot machine glass that can cost $40 a pop. And
if you're lucky.
Yep. And this top glass, because when I first got this machine, the real glass was broken, and technician who had fixed the real glass broke the top glass. So this cost me $60 out of pocket.
Mm. Yeah,
It cost
you're lucky there because those are actually double diamonds, fairly common.
it is.
But here, for an example, the top dollar glass that I have here, one of the machines that I restored, the top glass cost me $350.
That's terrible.
It's very expensive because they're one of a kind. They're hard to find,
Yeah.
and when you do, you got to get it. Now I made the money back on it because I sold the machine, and that was part of the restoration fees and things. But
Yes.
the glass is not inexpensive, especially on the older machines. It just people should take more care of them. And I'm sure casinos are very strict with if they see that, they'll probably make you pay for it if you break it.
They do. Yep.
If they don't, they should.
Yeah, they should make you pay for anything you break.
Yep. It's just like anything else. I mean, you don't walk into a gas station and push the register off the table. I mean,
you don't.
It's just, you shouldn't do that, even if you're mad because it's taking all your money. I mean, that's your fault.
It is. And also, 1 second, let me turn the camera around. It's really crazy how expensive slot machines are in general. And also, going back to the oh shoot, 1 second. Sorry about that. Sorry about the lag. Hang tight, everyone. And let me find the question. Where was that question? All right. Shoot. Oh, there's this question. Todd B is asking, should we chase high progressives? They must be close to hitting.
Sure, go for it, Todd. Here's how I would answer that question. Again, just because it's very high doesn't mean that it's due anytime soon. But where it is to your advantage is if there is a bank of machines, let's say there's 5 machines and they all have progressives, but they all have different progressive amounts. You would most definitely want to choose the one that has the highest progressive amount. That just makes logical sense, right? If you're going to hit the progressive, and the odds on all the machines are the same for hitting the progressive, you would pick the one with the highest. But yeah, don't there's a famous story, if you guys look it up, the old MGM had a slot machine there from the late 90s or early 90s. And there's a rule inside of Las Vegas that if you install a machine with a progressive, that machine cannot be powered off or removed from the casino floor until that progressive hits. It's just one of the laws that they have. And this machine was, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Lion's Den, that's it. And people would line up to play it because the jackpot was astronomical compared to, I think it was $1 or $2 bet. And the jackpot was 13 million or higher than that. It started at something like 200,000. Because it was there for so long, they couldn't remove it, but somebody finally hit it. I guess it was 5 or 6 years ago. But that just goes to show that, that at the time that they installed that machine, they had a whole bank of those. That wasn't the only one. It just happened to take that long, but you never know when that's going to hit. Maybe you get lucky, maybe you won't.
Yep. I remember hearing that story before, and they even let the people keep the machine.
That's right, they did.
Yeah, it was very lucky, and I find it crazy that machine was there for 20 years.
I know, right?
Yep. They even made a Facebook group. Sorry.
I said, yeah, they couldn't get rid of it.
They couldn't.
So.
Yes. And Always is saying, I would take a shot at the high progressive, but I will not drop my bankroll into that slot machine.
No. And I think in general, although I don't know this for sure yet, but I think in general, machines that have progressives are generally set lower percentage paybacks because of that progressive. So a portion of your bet has to feed into that progressive. And because of that, that's why people, what's the one called Megabucks, I think? Yeah, Megabucks.
Yes.
the base gameplay on Megabucks is not going to pay as well as if you found that base game without Megabucks, because a portion of your bet is going to be feeding that progressive.
Yes.
And you're just, that's just naturally how it works. I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that's how it works, because there has to be something that's pumping that progressive up, so they're taking your money and filing it to that, basically. So yeah, I wouldn't put my bankroll into a high progressive either. Yeah. I mean, I don't put my bankroll in any slot machine, but if you do, obviously just do it within your means, and
yes,
only gamble with money you can afford to lose. And people say that constantly, but that's one of the biggest things that I always want to tell people is, just be smart. Tax question. IRS says to keep a log of wins, losses per session, but I find this not only confusing, what is a session, but a pain. Who is tracking every win-loss on each machine and table? Do you? I think I hit a jackpot once, 4 or 5, even longer than that. It was back when I lived in Chicago. And there was a rule back then that anything over $1,200, you have to, obviously, you get a form and you have to file that with your taxes, because it's considered income after $1,200. But you can claim your losses up to the amount of your jackpots or your wins to offset that win. So you may not have to pay as much tax. I think you still have to pay a little, but maybe not as much. Based on what I remember, that's why it's really important to use your player card, because the player card keeps track of all of that information, your bets and your losses. And then that's how you can, I assume you could send that to the IRS and they use that as proof. I think the best thing you can do is just look on your whatever players club you belong to, look in some of their frequently asked questions on that. I'm sure there's something in there that covers that.
Yes. Yeah, I find it. Yeah, I'd not consider taxes since. Yeah, I'd not consider taxes since I've not won a hand pay yet. And Mark Cream is asking, do generic machines pay more than a machine with a TV show or a movie type theme machine?
Boy, I cannot answer this question. I've been trying to find that out. I've heard rumors on this one, and I'll tell you what I believe, but don't take it for truth. I personally think that if there is a theme associated with it, where there is some kind of a license, like Wheel of Fortune, or some of the older ones are like CSI, Back to the Future, Lord of the Rings. I think in general, those pay off less because those machines are so expensive for the casino to put on the floor. And so the payback percentage is less. But that's just an assumption. I don't know that for a fact. But I've heard that before, and that makes sense to me, because licensed games are very, very much more expensive. And I think they even have to they don't even buy them outright. They have to lease them because they're so expensive to put on the floor. So good question.
Yes.
But I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but I do get this feeling from my previous live streams and other YouTube videos that the licensed machines tend to be tighter. But
it makes sense.
Like what you said earlier about the difference between a 93 versus a 98 is you can't feel you cannot feel the differences in one session.
Right.
Which when I think about it, it means that you can treat licensed slot machines like a regular slot machine, since they both take money.
Yeah.
High 777 slots. He says that he totally agrees. They have to pay royalties to license holder and in some cases actors.
Yep, I agree with that too. That's my feeling of it. And because it's so expensive, how are they going to get their money back, right? They're just going to make sure it doesn't pay as much as a machine that doesn't cost them as much. So
yes,
it makes logical sense.
Yep, and another interesting question from Todd B that just popped up is, does the denom of your bet impact the payout?
in most cases, yes, I can't verify what a casino does because of course, you never know what the payout percentage is on any slot machine that you're playing. I personally set all of mine to the max. And for the ones that I have multi-denomination, I can set a different payback percentage for each denomination. And I think in general, the higher the denomination, the higher payback they're going to give you.
Yes.
Than say, if there was a difference between a penny machine and $100 machine, the difference between the payback percentages on those, even if it's the same machine, but you can select which one you want, they can set different payback percentages for each denomination.
Yes.
Back to the old machines. No, that's fine.
Oh, sorry if I cut you off by mistake.
Nope.
All right, so I do want to add to Todd B's question. When I was going through my Dean Martin Wild Party, my WMS Blue Bolt slot machine, which I show you right now, is you can go through. Oh, sorry about that. Let me flip the camera. So you can go through what I found really intriguing. Sorry about this. Camera's being slow. All right, so on my Crystal Force slot machine, you can go into the menus and as a headphone warning, there's gonna be some loud beeps for like a little bit, briefly loud beeps. This is a headphone warning. Shoot.
Great.
Shoot. Sorry about this. The doors not opening. This is gonna be a two-handed. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be a two-handed task to get that door open. So what I'm saying is that in my Crystal Force slot machine, you can choose an option of like 5 cents denomination versus penny denominations, and as you go through the setup options, you can click in the setup. You can click how much you want to pay back for each of the denominations on the 2 cents on the penny denomination.
Sorry, Simon.
It's okay.
I'll show you on mine since
on the payback percentage, you can choose for it to be 92% payout, and on the 5 cents denomination, you can choose for it to be 94% payout percentage, which means that the operator can choose how much the machine wants to pay you. That means you can choose how much, and the operator can choose how much the machine should pay out on each denomination.
Sorry, I'm just.
So that's Todd B's question. Kind of a very long answer and a very loud answer to your question because of the machine beepers.
It didn't want you to show it off.
Yeah, I didn't want it. It wanted to hold it secret to hide game.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're keeping their secret tight.
They are. I do want to show you. So I do wonder. Yeah, one of my friends is wondering is are there any casinos near you that you go to?
No, like I said before, I go to Vegas because I like it, and I have a friend that goes, but I go for the food and the shows and things. I used to play slot machines, but I decided that it was just not a good use of money. Although over the years, I really enjoyed slot machines. I just like playing them. And I was like, you know what? I might as well just buy one. I can play it for free anytime I want and get, same enjoyment. I mean, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people say, why in the world would you own your own slot machine? It makes no sense at all. And I get that, but why would you own a fishing boat? I don't care about fishing at all. So I would ask somebody, why do you have a fishing boat? Well, you like to go fishing. So everybody likes different things, and that's okay. So I don't go to any casinos to play machines or or even cards or anything like that.
Yes.
I'd rather just put my money in this and play them anytime I want.
That's a smart idea. Hi, Cassie. Hi, I bet what you want. And Mark is asking another interesting question. Is there any difference in payouts between a networked or standalone slot?
I don't think so. I think networked, typically when they're networked, it's because they're share jackpot or jackpots, like mini, max, grand, whatever. And that's when you have a bay of 5 machines. I think you mentioned dancing drums. I think it's one of those that they link with multiple machines, although they could be standalone. But I don't think that the percentages are any different if it's linked or not. I think it's I assume that they link it just because, if there was 5 machines and one of them had a insanely high jackpot and the other 4 didn't, nobody's ever going to play those 4. They're just always going to play that one. And so by linking them, they get people to, spread the love basically between all of the machines instead of just sitting on one, because that's the one that has the highest jackpot. So.
Yes. Yeah, and Mama Mia is asking maybe a dumb question, but how do you know if a casino is tribal one?
If it's on tribal property, it's that simple. And the way you can look that up is if you go to a map, let's say Google Maps, and look up the casino. And if you zoom out a little bit, it will tell you if it's part of a Navajo territory or some kind of Indian territory. That'll guarantee you whether or not it's in there. But you can also learn based off of the state. Most states in the United States do not allow casinos. Those that do have certain restrictions. As you know, Las Vegas is Nevada is pretty wide open. You can put a casino in the middle of the desert if you wanted to. There's no restrictions. There's no tribal or anything. Same with New Jersey. But you have other states, and I know I'm kind of going into a rabbit hole here, but I think it's interesting. You have states like Louisiana, I think Mississippi, where they have to be floating on water. So they build these casinos in these river boats that never go anywhere, but they have to be over water. So, that's how they get around the rules, basically. And that's just a way for the state to prevent it from going out of control like a Nevada or New Jersey by putting some kind of restriction on it. But the biggest ones I know of, I think New Mexico is pretty big on tribal casinos. Arizona, Oklahoma, I think Texas even has one. I'm not really sure about that. I think it's down south, but so that's how you can know. Just look to see if it's on tribal land, and if it is, it's tribal run.
That is so interesting to know. And hi, Fallon and all Rachels do have 2 questions. Fallon is asking, can tribal casinos pay out less than other casinos? And all Rachels on the same subject is asking, but wait, Resorts in Atlantic City is not a tribal property, but they are managed by Mohegan Sun.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's true. I didn't know that. That's good to know. I thought all New Jersey was owned separately, but I guess, a tribal company could own a casino in Nevada if they wanted to, even if it wasn't on tribal land. I don't think there's any restriction there. So, Fallon, can tribal casinos pay out less than other casinos? The answer to that is yes, most definitely. And I mentioned this earlier, but just real quick, there's 2 types of casinos: state-run and tribal. State-run casinos are required by law to publish their payback percentages, so they are public. You can look it up for any state, any city, and see what the average payback percentage is for casinos in that area, or even a specific casino. Tribal casinos do not publish that information, and they wouldn't tell you if you asked. So because of that, you don't really know how low the percentage could be. State-run casinos put limits, such as 75 to 80% in Nevada, where tribal casinos go as low as they want, 30%, 20%. They can do whatever they want, and you never know because it's not public knowledge. So I tend to recommend people stay out of those if you can, because you don't know what's going to happen. And usually they're in remote locations where they're the only one. And because of that, there's no competition, so they can do whatever they want. People are going to go there because they're addicted or whatever, and they'll take you. They will take you fast.
Sounds like it. And also, is there any last questions before we wrap up the show? So, like, in a few minutes, I do have to go in a few minutes, since I do realize that the big jackpot is live right now.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, and is there any last questions before we take off? The chat is like usually 10 seconds behind. So we do like have to wait for like a few seconds.
Sure thing.
And while we wait for the chat, I'm wondering, Mark is saying, thank you both. This has been very informative. Mama Mia says, thanks for the great information. And Cassie Roberts is asking, when will you be doing this again? So I'm like wondering, would you like to do a part 2 where you come back up and like we can talk more about slot machines and maybe go more in depth about the subjects you touched today?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I recommend everybody in the comments below put questions that you have for the next part. And if there's any questions I can't answer, I'll do research and find out for you. And we'll definitely do this again. I think there's a lot to this, and there's a lot that's still unanswered. So get your questions in. I'm happy to help. And if you're interested, I do restoration and stuff on my channel. And if you like that kind of stuff, or sometimes I just sit down and play them for fun. Nice. If you like that, come watch. I don't post as often as Simon does. I'll go ahead and say that. She's way on more top of things than I am. It takes a lot of time, and I'm not that very good at thumbnails and all that kind of stuff.
I can help.
Okay, good. That's what I wanted to hear. I got something out of this. That's great.
Yes, I can definitely help you with thumbnails, titles, and descriptions. And going for like any slot channels out there, I can do. I'm willing to help with logos, thumbnails, titles, descriptions, and anything to make your channel pop and grow.
Thank you.
Definitely leave your questions for part 2. I would love to see them in the chat, and I really hope that everyone has a great night tonight. So thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and also don't forget to subscribe to Home Slots Fun for even more slot machine content and knowledge. See you, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.